Hi, it's Bob1975 and welcome to Elite Dangerous on the Legacy version on Xbox. And what I'm bringing today is all of the interactions I had with other players just on a random Tuesday. Scooby and Dark Owl were in party with me. I went down to Seoul and did some piracy. Dark Owl borrowed my carrier and was over doing some wing missions. And Scooby was way off doing some mass murdering. According to people in my comment section and people that constantly tell me the game is completely dead, nobody plays it. Someone even told me that I was dreaming because I mentioned there was still enough players for me to apply my trade as a PvP pirate. So this should be a short video. However, you can see from the length it's not. So trust me, get some popcorn, hunker down and enjoy some player interaction on Elite Dangerous on a random Tuesday. And the day after this was nearly as busy as well. I ran into quite a few players on the Wednesday as well. I don't generally play on Saturday nights because of work very often, and so it's nice that this game still has enough life in it that I get some kicks and some fun on random evenings in the week. Friday's like my big day that I hope to see more players, and I'm not going to say it's like this all the time. Sometimes you can be sat for quite a while waiting around to see people in Seoul. Other times like this you run into a player almost immediately and get some piracy done. Now this guy was setting me up for a trap because as soon as I went to scoop out the cargo that he dropped, he immediately attacked, and he had a fighter out, he's got in a Corvette, and so I do the sensible thing as a pirate, which is I want to get 1 ton so it's successful piracy, and then I'm out. I'm only firing the missiles at him here because I just want to try and blind him a little bit and just jiggle my ship slightly out of getting hit by those missiles. But as you can see, the police have already turned up, they're shooting me, I've got the fighter shooting me, I've got a Corvette shooting me, and I'm desperately waiting for that one hatch breaker to return with some cargo so I can leg it. But yeah, tough bit of piracy this one on a Cobra Mark IV. After this bit of piracy I actually did go back and grab an Anaconda and come looking for this guy, but I had to go quite far to my carrier because my carrier was being borrowed by Owl for various reasons. He was looking to do some wing missions with some of the materials that I had on board my carrier, so I was happily letting him borrow my carrier so he could just grab the stuff that he needed for wing missions. But I got my 1 ton, and of course, yeah, a vet, a fighter, some police. I'm not going to stick around very long in a shieldless Cobra Mark IV. That would be suicide. Now I had a slight dilemma because I went back to the system where my carrier is normally parked to go repair, but my carrier wasn't there. So I thought, I'll repair on Polo's one. So I land on Polo's carrier because he's got repair services, but he's suspended them. Now Polo has not played the game in a long time and has taken the very sensible option of suspending all the services on his carrier to save himself some credits. And I think it was Scooby who said that, didn't know that he had a very long, thin penis because he's a tight-fisted whack. Sorry, not sure what happened there. I was talking about Polo and it all went to intermission. But yeah, I was collecting missions from Al while I was trying to look for that guy. I never found him. I did run into Jordo Man, and Jordo followed me back to my carrier when I went back to Eternatus, which meant I led Jordo to Owl, who was doing the wing missions, and Jordo decided to jump out. So I ended up having to distract Jordo Man, which is all I'm going to do against Jordo, is distract him. Fighting Jordo Man is just a hiding to nothing for my ships. I don't have a single ship or anywhere near the thumb capacity or capability to fight Jordo Man in big ships. My best bet against Jordo Man is to come mob-handed in a wing with lots of us, because yeah, that ship is just it's a tank. It's very annoying to shift. If I had long-range bank cancellers on it, I might have had a bit more of a chance, but I missed virtually every shot to cancel his banks in this one, and a couple of times when it was an easy shot he was out of range, which is a bit of a pain. I need to make a note to myself to change the railguns on this from sturdy mount to long range. I don't know why they were sturdy mount in the first place. They came from a different ship and they were just from an old build long ago. They weren't even grade 5, they're grade 3, so I don't even know how good they are. But this ship's not a serious 1v1 ship. This is basically my long range bounty hunting, go to a system, blockade it type of ship. It's got a wake scanner, it's got a big fuel scoop. You know, DPS and firepower wise it's great, but in terms of you know, what it can sustain, is because it's got less shield boosters than it should have, it's a little bit weaker. So it does double bank quite nicely when I don't get cancelled by Jordo Man, because unlike me, he doesn't miss his railgun shots. But yeah, so I had this instant where I was distracting him, and Al like just jumped out there and then headed off towards the station, and then again I distracted Jordo again a second time, and once Al started dishing out the missions, I could jump away and run away from Jordo again. So yeah, job done. That's all I'm going to do against Jordo. But yeah, so you know, that's 2 players run into so far, so not the most players playing, you know, I haven't run into that many, but so far we're still early in the evening. I didn't play for that long, but I played for a few hours. Here's the second incident with Jordo Man, but as you can see from the time code, we're nowhere near through this video. You know, and trust me, a lot more players are to come. I think by the end of it people will be surprised, and I am going to leave this video link as a reply to the person telling me that in my dreams do I run into that many players, because honestly I do run into a decent amount of players still playing this game. I love the fact I'm accepting wing missions while getting shot to hell by Jordo Man. But yeah, not much I'm doing other than just tanking it for a while and then trying to run away. And yeah, me and Jordo chatted and he was like GG, and I was like, oh sorry, I was just distracting you. You know, it's an old tactic, it works very well, but that's what you should do when someone tries to pirate you or attack.
I'm distracting you, you big turd blossom.
That is why you have someone run escort when you're trading, or you know, like try and interdict people that are trying to gank you. It's the job. Anyway, eventually I did get back to Seoul and get to do some piracy. I switched back into my Pirate Cobra, went back over to Seoul and ran into this guy, and this is just literally going to be encounter after encounter after encounter. Admittedly, they were not much of interest. They were all no cargo free to goes. If you're a ganker, there were plenty of targets over here, but just for general player count, so you know, that's another player. And you know, as far as I'm concerned, even a no cargo free to go is a role-playing encounter with another player. That is what I play the game for. I play an open on Xbox looking for player interactions. Now, they're not always interactions to my liking. Sometimes I get attacked, sometimes my mark gets attacked and I have to defend them, but we're not going to show the whole fight between me and this NPC. But you know, sometimes you have to protect the trader from the much ruder than us player pirates, those NPC pirates. But yeah, NPCs don't like this many missiles, and especially fixed ones. But soon enough, another encounter with another commander. Didn't expect this one to have cargo, and you know, bless him. He's only low ranked and he's got very low hull, but you've got to check everyone, as Panda would tell me. You know, must check everyone, make sure they're not carrying any cargo. But again, another player, and this is a player I've never seen before. In fact, the last 3 players have been players I've not really registered in the game before. They're not on my friends list, I don't know them, they're reasonably low ranked. They've only recently started playing the game, along with a lot of other players that have recently started playing the game. And like I say, this is in a peak time, this is a Tuesday evening. This is not Friday or Saturday night, this is Tuesday night, you know. And it's not even like the peak time for the US players to be playing, which is when you tend to get more people. Now this one baffled me. Like, I ran into 2 Type 7s, one with shields, one without shields. Again, 2 totally different players that I don't really run into, and neither of them had cargo. I don't know what you're doing in Seoul in a Type 7 with no cargo. Only a complete idiot would fly a Type 7 as a general use. Oh no, that's me. No, I fly a Type 7 as a general use vehicle. It's obviously because it's the greatest ship in the game. I mean, just look at it, it's beautiful. Why wouldn't you just fly a Type 7? Because you can. It's an awesome ship, it's amazing, and I'll fight anyone who says it isn't. But yeah, I kept running into Type 7s, Pythons, and all these people had no cargo. I don't know what they were doing. They weren't even carrying passengers in Seoul. It was like, yeah, all this traffic and no one's carrying any cargo for me. It was just, yeah. But I digress. Another player, more interactions. I've lost count of how many players we're up to, but you know, just in this sequence of no cargo frees to go, we're up to 1, 2, 3, 4 now. Then Jordan Man, the guy I had a fight with, so that's 6. You know, in a reasonable space of time. This is not spread over like 5 or 6 hours. This is, you know, all within a reasonable space of time. Me and Al were doing our usual. We were sitting at the Star chatting, you know, chilling out a lot of the time. There wasn't, you know, I think Al went off for a break. I jumped off for food for a minute, but you know, in and out of the party, in and out of the game, just chatting, chilling out, having a laugh. And you know, I'm having roleplay fun with piracy targets that don't carry any cargo. You know, telling them how my children won't eat and can they bring gold next time. But yeah, the constant amount of like possible piracy targets. So here's a shielded Type 7. We've had the unshielded one, now we get a shielded one. And you say, very unusual you run into a Type 7 that's not carrying cargo. It's basically the only thing the Type 7 is supposed to be used for. I know I've used mine for exploration, bounty hunting, you name it, blockade running, mining, though it's not a good mining ship because you want a medium-sized mining laser for mining, and unfortunately the Type 7 only has 4 smalls. That's the one thing that lets it down as a mining ship, but you know, some people still swear by it. But again, absolute shocking result. This was getting sort of gobsmackingly stupid that no one had any cargo. But you know, some nights it's like that. Some nights you run into everyone's got cargo, some nights no one's got cargo, but at least I'm running into people, and lots of people. There's like, how many is that? And then we come to this guy. I felt sorry for this guy. A bit of a dumb move. Like, if you're being interdicted by a pirate in a wing, you know, maybe ask yourself where his wingmate is before you start firing, because I'm sure he was of the opinion like, I can take that ship. And yes, you can. It's a Cobra Mark IV with no shields. Reasons I use the Cobra Mark IV with no shields is because nobody's scared of a Cobra Mark IV with no shields, and nobody's going to have a log on a Cobra Mark IV with no shields. So, you know, it helps out immensely. Now, this guy worried me immediately because he got a fighter out. I was in the process of going for the no cargo free to go because he had no cargo, and he was indeed free to go when he decided to start fighting me.
Not a great plan.
Which of course I get a wingmate in, and I think I was pretty much messing him up before Al dropped in, but you know, Al definitely sped things up, and I spent too much time going after the fighter. I should have just focused on the mothership, but I did actually go after the fighter a little bit because the fighter annoys me. It doesn't miss, and it doesn't matter if you're silent running or cold running or anything like that. It's annoying. Plus, if I could hit it with, I just wanted to see if I could hit it with a full volley of missiles, to be honest, because it is pretty difficult to hit small moving targets with that. But with the police dropping in, you know, I had to change back to shooting the mothership because I don't have the greatest amount of hull on this thing. It's about the same hull as my Cobra Mark III, ironically, but that's the whole point. The Cobra Mark IV has the same hull as the Cobra Mark III, but actually fits all the pirate equipment on and still has the same hull. But yeah, once I start targeting the mothership again with Al dropping in, it becomes a very quick fight. And yeah, the error of this guy's ways becomes apparent. Jordan Man probably get away with it, but you know, if you're gonna attack a wing of pirates and you're on your own, it's probably not a good idea if you're a bit of a newbie. And you know, just because you can kill my ship doesn't mean you can kill the rest of my wing ship. So yeah, I did kind of feel sorry for this guy, but you know, he's got the fixed plasmac fighter. That's actually one of the better ones. It does quite high DPS. But yeah, don't use fighters in PvP, people. It is frowned upon because the fighters cause lag, which is kind of a known exploit, so it's seen as you're exploiting combat. It doesn't really matter in this case because the fight was over pretty quickly, and I didn't really get too much lag because, like I said, the fight was over pretty quickly. Yeah, I love the fact that he got corroded, and yeah, I just about managed to turn around in time to see the explosion. But yeah, Al's absolutely wrecking in his ship. I would have been better off earlier on when I was trying to scoop that cargo up in something like Al's cutter. I don't like cutters, but one thing they're really good at is scooping up cargo under fire. But you know, that was another interaction with another player. So we had a successful bit of piracy, a lot of no cargoes free to go, one bit of PvP combat with Jordan Man, and one bit of PvP combat with a random guy. Well, 2 bits of PvP combat with Jordan Man. Then we're back to no cargo free to goes. The running theme of the evening was lots of no cargo free to goes, but that's part of the fun of being a pirate. You never know what's going to happen. You never know if it's going to be a fight, a robbery, or just nothing. You know, and I always find, you know, the more people you interdict, the more chance you've got of being able to rob someone. So just going through the no cargo free to go, checking everybody, is part of being a PvP pirate. And the fact that there's this many people on a Tuesday night shows I'm not dreaming. The game isn't dead, and there are signs of life within Elite Dangerous on the legacy version on Xbox. We're a year and 3 months removed from when FDev announced they were no longer going forward with development for console, and they were just maintaining it in the state it's in now, which is the legacy version. And people are still playing it. Now, let's be fair, the player base has dwindled a bit from its peak, which was 3 years ago. But the player base is still enough that I can have fun doing what I do, which is reliant on other people to run into. This was not set up in any way. All these recordings were taken from the Tuesday. The clock in the corner of my screen, the corner of my cockpit, shows that, you know, the evening progressing. And admittedly, they were no cargo free to goes, but I recorded all of them just for the purpose of this video to demonstrate that I'm still running into people, lots of people, and that's the most important thing. This game was always niche. It was always a very, very niche title. And it attracted a certain mindset, and to be honest, nothing's really changed. There are a lot of new players discovering this game. It was never really that well sold by FDev on console, I don't feel, and you know, people see it and they see it's available and they have a potter around and play for a bit and they decide whether they like it, and it attracts a certain mindset. And you know, tonight I had PvP fun with some newer players. You can always tell this was always going to happen. I have this massively long interdiction with this guy. I eventually win it, and of course they de-instance. So what can you do? But this was the last interdiction of the night, and that was it. Me and Al went off for the evening. I think I went off, I think Al stayed on for a little bit longer, but that was a fun evening's entertainment. One successful bit of piracy, some PvP, and it's all good. And that's what we do in Elite Dangerous, because
everything's better with pirates.